Foundations of Amateur Radio. In our hobby we use kilohertz and megahertz enthusiastically, sometimes even gigahertz. The other day, during a discussion, the question arose, what comes after tera, as in terahertz? I couldn't remember, so I had to look it up. Peta comes next, then exa, zeta and iota, derived from the Greek word for 8. That in and of itself was interesting, but it turns out that Greek isn't the only language used in attributing SI metric prefixes, SI being the International System of Units. Of the 20 units, which I'll get to in a moment, there's 12 with Greek origins, 5 deriving from Latin, 2 from Danish and 1 from Spanish. The units are used to describe how many of a thing there are, in base 10. So 1,000 of something is kilo, or 10 to the power of 3. Which gives us kilohertz. A gigahertz is 10 to the power of 9, and so on. Interestingly, kilo is derived from the Greek word 1,000, but mega comes from the Greek word for great. Both hecto, as in hectopascals, and deca, as in decathlon, originate in the Greek words for 100 and 10. The prefix pico, as in picofarad, comes from the Spanish word peak, and femto, as in femtowatt, comes from the Danish for 15, as in 10 to the power of minus 15. Apparently, a zeptomole of a substance contains 602 particles. Even NASA says so. Let me know if you can find a source for that. I could devote my entire discussion on these 20 units, adding, for example, that their naming wasn't all done at the same time. The most recent additions are iota and yocto, as I said, derived from the Greek for 8, being 10 to the power of 24. How's that 8, you ask? Well, 3 times 8 is 24. I'm not saying it's intuitive, but there is logic. In looking at all these units, and specifically the smaller ones, milli, micro, nano, pico and the like, it occurred to me, is there a way to go below 1 Hertz? Could you have half a Hertz? Hertz is the number of oscillations per second, a single Hertz being 1 per second. Half a Hertz would be 1 oscillation per 2 seconds. I started wondering what to look for in discovering if anyone has been playing with this. For the life of me, I couldn't think of what to search for, and my experience tells me that if you cannot find the answer online, you're asking the wrong question. This morning, with a fresh cup of coffee in my hands, it occurred to me that anyone doing this kind of stuff would be using SI units. So they'd be using decihertz, centihertz, millihertz, microhertz and nanohertz, perhaps even picohertz. So I went searching. Turns out that this actually exists. After wading through endless results with conversion tools and dictionaries, there's plenty of research to find. The unit decihertz is being used in gravitational wave interferometry. Specifically, there's a Japanese space-based gravitational wave observatory in the works, with hopes of launching their 3 spacecraft if they can find funding. It doesn't end there. There are experimental imaging studies being made on malignant and benign human cancer cells and tissues, looking at decihertz all the way down to yoctohertz. That's 10 to the minus 24. Inside Apple software development documentation, in addition to mega, giga and terahertz, you can find links to milli, micro and nanohertz as predefined units. NanoGrav stands for North American Nanohertz Observatory for Gravitational Waves, and it uses the galaxy to detect them. It was founded in 2007 and is part of a global community of scientists in places like Australia, where the Parkes Pulsar Timing Array is located. Yes, that Parkes made famous from the film The Dish, and Europe with the European Pulsar Timing Array, combining 5 separate radio telescopes, all coming together under the banner of the IPTA, or the International Pulsar Timing Array. The point of my little exploration is that if you're curious about random things, you can often come across activities and ideas you know nothing about, and learn something along the way. Today I learned that there is such a thing as a sub-Hertz signal. It's being explored all over the globe with scientists in different fields, and it's happening without much in the way of public awareness. What did you learn today? And which SI prefix didn't I use? I'm Onno, Victor Kilo 6, Foxtrot Lima, Alpha Bravo.